What's up, Average Dad fans? Welcome back to another video. And yes, the location is slightly different. I've moved the seat around because today I am giving you the Average Dad tier list. Yes, about 15 phone manufacturers. There's a few more, but you know, you don't own any of them. 15 manufacturers, all the ones you know. I have rated them from S to D. Let me know in the comments what you think and send me a picture on Instagram of your tier list if you've made one. I really enjoyed making this and I know it'll spark debate. So without further ado, let's go. So we've all seen tier lists before. I don't have to explain it. You know exactly what's going on. Do me a favour and play along. Write down where you would put the manufacturers on your tier list. And of course, my tier list is S to D. You can go all the way down to F if you like. But generally, if you're a smartphone manufacturer still going in 2025, you must be doing something right. Without further ado, let's go to the tier list. First up, we have Oppo. Now, Oppo are just, as you know, massive. Oppo globally, obviously when you include the Chinese market, just crush it. They sponsor all your biggest events like the World Cup, the Champions League, soccer I'm talking about for American viewers, football for the rest of the world. And in terms of smartphones, they have everything. And that's one of the reasons why I put Oppo so high. They don't just give you a flagship candy bar, they give you budget ones. They also give you a flip phone and a foldable phone. So for me, that rates you highly on my list. Now, of course, if all your phones were rubbish, then you wouldn't be getting very high. But Oppo, in every category, make one of, if not the best, phones in that category. So for that reason, I'm actually starting this off super strong. I'm putting Oppo in my S tier list. Yes, I don't see how a manufacturer can get any better. The world's thinnest phone, arguably the world's best camera phone in the X7 Ultra. It's very close. We'll talk about the other contenders. Probably the world's best flip phone. Now, I'm aware that you watching, you probably haven't used the Oppo Find N Flip, but it's pretty damn good. And then, of course, they've got their regular X7, X8s without the Pro variant for the cheaper budget end of stuff. Really impressed with Oppo just across the board. And pricing wise, because obviously with a lot of these manufacturers you'll have to import prices, put them well under their competitors from Apple, Samsung and Google. So starting off strong with an S tier. Now we move to Realme. Yes, Realme are a smartphone manufacturer that make more budget friendly phones. And if this was last year or the year before, Realme would have probably got higher for me. But having only released the GT7 Pro globally, even then it was limited release, I used it. And while the specs are fantastic for a $500 to $600 phone, I feel like last year's GT6 Pro was just a bit more innovative, just a bit more bang for your buck. Seems like the price has increased $100 to $200 depending on your storage over last year. So Realme doing nothing wrong, but they don't offer foldables, they don't offer flip phones, they don't offer flagship phones. The few phones they do deliver are more budget friendly, but they're kind of been left behind by other manufacturers this year. So for me, sorry, they're going in the C tier for me, not quite D tier, but C tier for me. Now, Apple. There is no getting away from it. Apple are the largest selling phone manufacturer on the planet. They own America. They own your carriers, which is why we have such issues getting your better phones to connect to Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. You know the whole script. Apple are the world's first $1 trillion tech company. They are just a juggernaut. But this is my tier list. And they don't have a flip phone. They don't have a fold phone. I'd argue that they don't have a budget phone anymore, because that new 16E they've came out with is just an absolute shambles. And I'm not doing this just to get favour with all my Android buddies. I honestly believe that the 16 Pro Max is one of the best phones out there. But as a manufacturer, where's the versatility? Where's the innovation? So I'm not going to put Apple in D. I was deliberating between B and C here. I think because of the reasons I talked about Oppo before, I'm going to give Apple in the C category as well. I know that might be a little harsh, but screw it. It's my list. So Apple are in the C category. And now moving swiftly on, ROG phone / Asus. What can I say? The Asus ROG 8 Pro, 9 Pro, fantastic devices. But Asus have dropped their Zenfone line, which was a budget-friendly, smaller phone. So really we're just rating Asus or ROG on one lineup. And when that one phone cost £1,100 to £1,300, if not more, depending on your storage variant, I cannot possibly put this high on the list. And the lack of multiple years software support and Android updates like you're getting from Google and Samsung and Apple on iOS, I just feel that unless you're, in fact, I'm going to scrap that. Even if you're a hardcore gamer, flagship phones nowadays, like Oppos and Vivos and Samsungs, they've got all the gaming power you will ever need. Now more than ever, gaming phones are becoming a bit of a gimmick, folks. I'm sorry, but it's just true. So for me, while I really enjoyed the Asus, I loved the speakers. I think the Honor Magic RSR has better speakers, and the cameras are about 50,000 times better. So for me, it's the first phone manufacturer to go in D tier. Sorry, Asus, but you offer almost nothing to the smartphone world these days. Harsh? Let me know in the comments. Now moving on, we'll just do some rapid fire here. Nokia. If this list was 25 years ago, Nokia would have been S tier. But anybody watching, do you own a modern Nokia? No, it's D tier for me. I'd love to see them come back and do something, but yeah, I can't see that ever happening. Now, 2024 Google would have been lower down. 2025 Google with the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL, the more budget-friendly 9, the Google 9 Pro Fold. I love what Google are doing, but price, too high, A tier. Price is too high for me to recommend Google over Oppo and other manufacturers, but they do have a versatile lineup now. They do have software which is extremely well supported, and their service centres and repair and warranty is top notch. But again, that price for a Pixel phone, too high. And now we come to Honor. I'm just going to put it where it belongs. I mean, I think we all know this. Honor are an S-tier manufacturer. They offer arguably the world's best foldable phone. In my opinion, the world's best candy bar phone at the moment, the Magic 7 RSR. And for a lot of people, the Magic 7 Pro is their favourite phone. They also have a flip variant. And in terms of pricing, not even just import pricing, Honor ship globally to a lot of countries the Magic V3. And with all their deals, I actually think it's good value for money buying direct from Honor UK if you are looking for free tablet, free watch, all the deals that Honor give you. I have been nothing but impressed with Honor for years now. I've made a dedicated video about Honor. I think they're doing everything right. Other than their release strategy, I mean, we all know that was really odd with the V2. It's got better with the V3. Hopefully the V5 is even better than that. So, for me, Honor are an S-tier manufacturer. They offer it to many more countries, not just the Chinese market. And yeah, their phones are, irrefutable. There can be no debate. If you've held and used a V3, it's just mind-blowing. So, well done, Honor. Keep up the good work and keep the prices down. So, next up we have a Motorola. Motorola, again, like Nokia. If this was 20 years ago with that Razr phone, anyone remember the Razr V3? One of my favourite flip phones of all time. Actually, I hate flip phones nowadays, but I used to like them. Motorola are not as bad as Nokia because they still do a flip phone. The Razr 50 Ultra, I know Michael Fisher, Mr. Mobile, he loves them. And I've not heard many complaints. It's basically a stock Android system. They do have a versatile lineup in that they offer candy bars and flip phones. They do have multiple different price ranges. So for me, Motorola are actually going to get in the B category. I'm not quite on board buying one and owning one and put my SIM card in them, but I think what they offer speaks for itself, and B, right in the middle, seems fair for Motorola. Now, again, I'm going to give you two guesses where I'm going to put Vivo. Oh yeah, you're right. I'm going to put them in S tier. There's a lot of reasons I'm putting Vivo in S tier, and I'm going to list a few. Vivo have made the best foldable phone on the planet ever with the Vivo X Fold 3 Pro. Vivo were the first, in my opinion, to offer truly flagship cameras on a device supported by Google services. I say that because we're going to talk about Huawei soon. They also have flagship cameras in their foldables. But Vivo were the first that were readily available with Google with flagship cameras. Origin OS software is one of my favourites, but that's only on the Chinese version. And in terms of versatility, they've got the candy bar phone, they've got budget phones, they do like phones you've never heard of. The V series from Vivo are like £150 or $200. They have dozens of phones that you will never have heard of, so they do offer a lot. And then of course in the candy bar lane, we've got the upcoming X200 Ultra and the current phone of the year, the Vivo X200 Pro. How can we give Vivo anything other than S tier here? Hopefully that's not too much of a shock for you. And again, play along. How is your S tier list working out with all of these phone manufacturers? Now, moving on to another massive hitter in China, it's Xiaomi. Points to Xiaomi for releasing globally. Yes, it seems like the Xiaomi 15 Ultra is going to be one of the only devices that may release with a global version. But even then, that might not be the case. Seems like Oppo with the X8 Ultra have pulled out the global market. Vivo with the X200 Ultra have pulled out the global market. So hopefully Xiaomi keep it up. But even if they don't, you want to talk about versatility? You want to talk about choice? They have literally every base covered. Because they own Redmi, which I've just included in Xiaomi's logo here, you've got anything from $100 to $1,800 covered from Xiaomi. They've got the Mix Fold 4, one of the most underrated foldables. I don't know why that phone doesn't get as much love. Probably the crease. But the Xiaomi Mix Fold 4 is absolutely fantastic. The Xiaomi 14 Ultra is fantastic. And the Pro lineup, because this is my list, I am just going to be honest though, for whatever reason, I just find HyperOS and Xiaomi as a brand not as exciting as Oppo and Vivo and Honor. I just find them a bit, I don't know. And I can't put my finger on it. I'm not going to mark them down too much. For me, they're just not S tier. They're an A tier manufacturer, in my opinion, because of that choice you have across the board. And now moving on to Nubia. Nubia have been quite a surprise over the past few years. It looked like ZTE, as they were called before, were just going to go down the Swanee, down the toilet. But Nubia have reinvigorated the brand. The Z60, the Z70 Ultra are fantastic. A proper flagship killer with a more reasonable price tag. They released a flip phone, which sold next to none, but at least they tried. And on release, their Z Flip, Nubia Z Flip I think they called it, was £500. That's phenomenal value for money if you're looking for a flip phone. And then, of course, Nubia also covers the Red Magic lineup. So you've got your Red Magic 10 Pro this year. A fantastic gaming phone, but for reasons I've talked about with the ROG, do we need a dedicated gaming phone anymore? But Nubia, I like. Nubia are doing really cool things. I'm going to go B category. No much more explanation there. I'm just putting them in B. And now, Samsung. This is the most difficult one for me to put on the list. Because on one hand, you have the Samsung Special Edition, one of my favourite foldable phones of the last 6 months. But in that same vein, you've got the Z Fold series, which is one of the most frustrating, in fact, the most frustrating foldables for the past 5 years. Then you've got the Samsung S25 Ultra, one of the best candy bar phones I have ever used, but not much of an upgrade over the S22, 23, 24 Ultra. Because they do have the flip phone, the fold phone, and I don't know, is it over 100 different other models globally Samsung release every year? And I mean that figure literally. There are literally about 100 Samsung phones, different models released every year. They have to get, high up there for versatility. And not only have they got every $100 price point covered, I think you could go up in increments of $50 with Samsung, all the way from $100 up to $2,000. So they've certainly got a lot of choice. They've certainly got the software nailed down. I feel they have to work on hardware, but because they're so versatile, I'm going to give them A tier. If it wasn't for the Z Fold lineup and the price, they would have been S tier for me. But Samsung are an A tier brand. Again, you can let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're in S, A, or even B, you're doing something very, very right. So don't worry, don't panic. And now, penultimate one, Huawei. A tier. I know, I could have kept going and put them in S tier, but how can I possibly say that Huawei can go in S tier when we can't use Google services, when we have to do workarounds for everything? No, that's not Huawei's fault. Huawei have 50% of the market share in China. They are the biggest manufacturer on the planet after Apple. But it's the Google factor, and it's not their fault. I'm sorry, Huawei. You're being restricted sales and you're being knocked down the tier list because, well, politics. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. So for me, Huawei are an A tier brand. And then finally, Sony. Fucking Sony. I don't know what to do about this. They don't offer anything in terms of versatility. They bring out a phone a year, and that phone has had major downgrades since the previous one. So, as much as I said it only goes from S to D, I'm putting Sony there. Sony are very close to me never, ever owning one of their devices ever again. You cannot keep downgrading your specs, removing everything from the box, and increasing the price. Just kill your smartphone lineup if you don't want people to buy. That would be my advice to Sony. So, that's how the tier list looks. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Share your list on Instagram. Send me a picture of your list if you can be bothered making your own. I've really enjoyed putting this together. And I'll be back soon with a comparison video between the Honor Magic RSR and the Vivo X200 Pro. If you haven't already, please smash subscribe. And until next time,